fireside chat without the fire. I just thought that today what I was going to do, because I went back and reviewed some of the videos because I wanted to see what I had already put out there, because I don't remember. And so I don't want to be talking about the same stuff over and over again. So what I thought I would do today on this fireside chat without a fire is go ahead and touch on some of the things that I thought that needed to be addressed because of what I reviewed. Because sometimes the way I was doing my videos, it seemed like I touched on the subject, but I didn't come up with the conclusion. I might have said some stuff, but I didn't come up with what the point. You didn't make the point that you were trying to make. So I wrote it all down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and touch on some of that stuff. And one of the things I thought I talked about, I said I would pick up explaining on a good mode. And so what I meant by that, because when I left off the last video, I was talking about Reggie with a good mode. Which he was. I mean, basically what you do when you set out in life, like I talked about the mold, you go at the craft shop and you get the mold, and all it is just a frame, and then you got to add the color and you got to add the character and all that. And so basically Reggie came out, he was a good mold. And because I don't want you all to think that you come from flawed DNA. You all have good DNA. You're nice, strong, on both sides. So Reggie was a good mold. But what he did was, once he got sent out into the world, as that mold, like if you go, say like Reggie didn't get married. Reggie shouldn't have got married. When he graduated from, when he finished up his residency for being an MD, he never should have got married. He wasn't ready for that. What he should have done was go ahead and let the world give him character and color. Because what happens is, once he left home and he following all the instructions and trying to please mom and dad and all that. So he did all that. He was a good son. And all people can poke their chest out and feel proud of that. But see, what's supposed to happen is once you get out into the world molds you in shape. All your experiences, all the things that you do when you're traveling and getting involved in the church and getting involved in the community and doing your job and all that. That's the thing that adds your character and your color and your all this and all that kind of stuff. But see, what Reggie did, instead of just being a free ego, disengaged man, going out into the world, sowing his wild oats and finding out who he really was and what he wanted to believe. God has a sense of humor, because my dad all his life and my parents raised us so that and allowed us to have liberties as young people, so that once we go out into the world, we knew who we were. We weren't out here 30 years old trying to find ourselves. Reggie was on a leash as a young man growing up at home. Everybody putting him in church and beating him over the head with the Bible and all, whatever they did. And then, of course, the demonstration, all the stuff that his parents emulated to him as a young man. They out here trying to be in holy matrimony, mom having girlfriends and dad having his boyfriends and taking kids out with them and getting all this kind of carrying on. So Reggie didn't have a good what's the word? He didn't have a good template of what holy matrimony entailed. So anyway, when he graduated from when he finished up his residency, what he should have done was just went out here, sowed in wild oats, find out what it is he really was and what he really wanted. Because what he would have discovered is that he don't want somebody who's already molded and shaped and know their character and who they are, what they believe and value and what they want out of life. He needed somebody who either was a gold digger, somebody that wanted him for his potential income, his future position and income, or he needed somebody who was looking for a parental role. That's what he needed. But he didn't know that, because he was just coming out in the world and he thought he knew what he wanted, but he wasn't. He was still out here trying to find himself. So anyway, what you do is once you get out here, you experience things and you have all these things that you want to explore and all that. That's what gives you the character. That's what gives you the color. That gives you shape to your life and all that. So Reggie was the good mold, but what he didn't do was allow himself to be shaped. He didn't allow himself to know who he was and what he wanted and give himself that time to explore all the stuff that was available to him and all this stuff. He was just coming from home and trying to follow whatever he thought that his parents wanted and expected of him. And so that's where he was. But anyway, so that's what I want to say about that. That's why I talk about the good mold. So, you allow yourself, once you get out here in the world, you become who you are, all this heredity plus environment. But then all your experiences and all the things that you allow yourself to do and experience, that's what gives you the color and the shape and the character and all that. So that way, by the time you arrive to a place where you're ready to settle down and start a family and all that, you already know who you want. You ain't got to be out here trying to find yourself. You ain't got to marry somebody who's already shaped and molded and know who she is, what she wants, what she values, what she willing to live, die, and maim for. And then you decide that, I don't want nobody that confident, that secure, I want somebody who I can shape and mold and be a parent to. So know the difference. Know who you are, what you want, and all this other stuff. Give yourself time. But anyway, so I just want to touch on that because I said last video I was saying Reggie was a good mold, and then I think I kind of left it off at that. And that's what I meant. He was a good character. You all come from good DNA. You all are not flawed. You all don't come from bad genes and all that kind of stuff. You have good mold. I made sure. In fact, like I say, I ain't married a man for his potential future wealth, or I ain't marrying him for his position or power or any of that. I married the man for his DNA. And so when you marry somebody for their DNA and then they screw up, what you gotta do? Ain't nothing you can do. You can't get the DNA back. All you can do is mitigate the situation. Try and minimize the damages, because there's some damages done. The man messed up. He ain't who he was. He ain't did what he said he was going to do. And he wasn't sure what he wanted in the first place. So all you can do is mitigate the damages and hope that you all can rise above your rays and become your best self despite, because you can't take it back. All this stuff will transcend time. You will be generations from now trying to figure out what you need to do, and your children and grandchildren are going to always be affected by what happened to you at this moment in time. But it don't have to be bad. I mean, it can always be good. Like I say, it could be the different experiences and things that you have, the trauma and all that. DNA goes forth, epigenetics, genomes, and all that, turns on, turns off, advantages, disadvantages. So, it don't tell you where it's going to go from here, but all you can do is hope and pray for the best of outcomes. And so I just hope that you all can overcome and make it all good. And so then the other thing, let's see what else I wrote down here. When I talked about what's worse, what I said, shape. Wait a minute. Let's see. I got my pieces of paper. The world is okay. The other thing I said about this expression about Reggie being a good mold and all that, what you do is what he did was he set out to the world, and he thought the next step for him after graduating from residency was to go ahead and take a wife. He didn't have to do that. He really should have went out there and sold his wild oats to experience the world. But he didn't. He took on a wife. So when he take on a wife, what you're supposed to do in that case is be beholden to your wife, not your mama. So what Reggie did was beholden to his mama. He did what his mama wanted him to do. His mama didn't know me. She didn't take time to get to know me. She should have spent some time to know me, but she didn't. She didn't cross the pond. Once we got married, we went ahead and went to Germany. And then we had a kid. She was five weeks old. Terrence was born over there. Them people, Elizabeth, nor his Reggie's one and only sister, never crossed that pond. You know, we call that the Atlantic Ocean. That's what they say, the pond. They never crossed that pond to come over and get to know these children at a young age, and get to know me. That's what they should have done. Try to figure out who I am. And all this stuff when Reggie was all going to talk about me being hard-headed and not doing what he tell me to do. I bet not one of them educated fools said, well, baby, what you asking the girl to do? What do you say she hard-headed? What you asking her to do? Maybe if they crossed that pond, they would have had some communication with me, and they'd have been able to find out what the heck was in my head. Same thing here, when in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, all this time, instead of just assuming, you're listening to him saying, "This is hard-headed, I'm divorcing her because you're hard-headed, she don't listen to me, she don't do what I tell her to do." Maybe they should come talk to me, find out what's going on in my head. What is the man asking the girl to do? So anyway, that's what I put out there, to be beholden to your wife and still beholden to your mama. Reggie was beholden to his mama. He let mama tell him what to do regarding me. That wasn't a good idea. Your mama didn't know me. She didn't take time to get to know me. She didn't consult me. She didn't talk to me. She didn't find out where my head is. But anyway, that's what you're supposed to do when you get to know your in-law. That's why you sit there, talk to them, have celebration, do the, what do you call it, the holidays and all that kind of stuff with your in-law, so you can get to know each other. But they didn't take time. So anyway, they point finger at me and decide that I was the one. Just like they do with the slaves. Back in the slave days, you got the people, that's just people in the South. They size them up, they put them on the slave block, they size them up, they, determine their worth, and decide what they're going to do with them. They go to the slave market, they see slaves on the block, and then they decide, okay, this is the one, I'm buying her cheap. She for sale for cheap. So once you get the cheap one, you can go ahead, you can work them to death, mule them out, just work them till they die, and then throw them down the nigger hole. So I guess that's what they decided with me. I guess I was, what they sized me up and did all this stuff. They decided that I wasn't worth the trouble. I wasn't worth the trouble. I shouldn't be in the family. So we're going to just throw her down. Throw her down the nigger hole. But guess what? I come from a family who loved me, who invested in me, who let me know at an early age that I had some worth. So thank God I didn't wait till I met these people to allow them to tell me what I'm worth. And so I just buy into what they selling me, and I just let the man use me as his as an attribute to his existence. That I was just some kind of whatever. Me and my kids, we were just some kind of accessory to the existence. Thank God for my parents for making us know that we have value, we have worth, and you don't let somebody that you meet 30 years down the road determine your worth and your value, and you just go, go with the flow. But anyway, enough on that topic. I guess the next thing I wrote it on. I wrote it all down because I don't write it down. I didn't forgot it. That's what the purpose of this fireside chat with Dr. Fire is to address some of these things that I touched on but didn't complete. So one of the things that I talked about is when it's worse, when it's bad, it could have been worse. And I talked about Reggie and me, potentially he coming back from downrange, when he went to Iraq, coming back in a gurney or in a wheelchair, and then I got to spend all my life taking care of it. What I meant by that is that when it's bad, it could have been worse, is that I could have spent all my life believing that this man would have looked out for me, that believing that if something had happened to me, that if I had gone down range, came back in a gurney on a wheelchair, that he would have took care of me, that he would have been, like I say, it didn't have to be hands-on, but he would have made sure that he paid the means, paid out to make sure that somebody come in and took care of me and made sure that I was taken care of. I could have spent all my life believing that. Well, I am thankful, very thankful, that he didn't come back from downrange on a gurney or in a wheelchair. And then I spent all my life taking care of this man, giving up all my existence and doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do because I believe in that he would have done the same for me. I'd rather not. Because I'd rather not be spending my life doing all that and then not realizing that the man wouldn't have done the same for me. I'd rather know. I'd rather have him expose himself and show me who he really is before I spend all my life doing all of that. And then at the end of my life when I die, I guess once you die, I'm assuming that you get to see what really is. Because then, I don't know what happens after death. But once I die, then I realize, oh, that man wouldn't have been there for me the first. I get to see Reggie in his true colors before I go to the astral plane. So I'm grateful for that. I'm glad that I didn't have to wait until I die after giving all my life to caring for him, then to realize that he wouldn't have done the same for me. So I'm grateful for that. And so I guess that's all I had to say about that. Care, believe it, what does that say? Erroneously? Oh yeah, believing erroneously that he would have done the same for me. That's all good. And then one part touch of the school year. I think I said that time when I listened back to it, I said the semester. One part of the semester was astronomy and the other part of the semester was physics. But in one of the semester it was a school year. You got to clarify these things because it's a difference. I spent a school year doing astronomy in a school year, another part of a school year doing physics. So, and again, that's why I learned extrapolation. And I thought that was a major thing. I'm glad that I learned to extrapolate because I use that today. You go ahead, you figure out what these things are going to be. This is the way things are now. If this continues on this, where you going to be 5 years, 10 years from now. Extrapolation was a good thing for me, and I'm glad I learned it in physics. I used to love physics. I loved astronomy, too. I used to always spend my time, but when you were young and all you got is time on your hands, you do all this kind of stuff. I remember, I used to have these astronomy magazines. I used to have a subscription to astronomy magazines, the different ones. And, you idle time, idle minds. I mean, I remember used to calculating how old I would be if I was on Venus, and then how old I would be if I was on Jupiter. I mean, doing idle stuff. But see, that's what it is. When you cared for, and ain't nobody got you out here trying to, disturbing your existence. What they call it. Just arrested development. You as a child, you're carefree. You got all this time on your hands to do all these things that, just idle time, just stuff to do. I used to read backwards. I used to write upside down, read upside down, just stuff for no reason. It made no sense. I mean, I don't think I'm any more, I don't know, what's the word? I don't think I'm better off for having done those things. But, reading backwards, writing upside down, learning the alphabet backwards, Z-Y-W-V-U-T-S, R-Q-B-O-N-N, L-K-J-L-G. I mean, all that, none of that matters. But it was something that you did. It was just, idle time, idle minds. You carefree. You ain't gotta be worried about, your life. You ain't gotta worry about where mom is, where dad is, whether your family gonna get divorced, whether you gonna have your parents, all that bull crap that we put our kids through these days. It's like carefree existence. So I don't think I'm any better off for it. I don't think, But I think it does. What it does is build neural pathways to, things. You're doing these things. Learn to write with my left hand. I was born right-handed. I was right-handed just like everybody else. But then I used to work with my left hand and start writing with my left hand and all that. So I think it all helps to some degree. Maybe, like I say, give your brain some experiences that you normally wouldn't have, and learning foreign languages and stuff like that. So I can't believe that it's meaningless, but I don't think, like I said, I don't think that, it made it's not a big difference, but it gives you something to do. And so, I think all that just giving your kids some security, giving them the chance to thrive and grow and just be who they are, do idle stuff. Everything doesn't have to be so hard for kids. Everything is so hard for kids these days. Everything is so serious for kids these days. They gotta wonder where their parents gonna be together, or I never even knew the word divorce in my life. I'm asking you, my siblings. I don't think any of us ever used the word divorce or wondered whether our parents were going to divorce. We never even saw our parents disagree with one another. When mom and dad had issues and things that they needed to talk about, they did it behind closed doors. They ain't do it in front of us. Now, when Reggie was and I had issues, I said, Reggie, let's not talk about this in front of the kids. Well, if you don't want to talk about it in front of the kids, or if you don't want, then you shouldn't make me mad, or something to that effect. That's the way he was. He ain't care nothing about discussing stuff in front of the kids and having disagreements in front of the kids. Let's not do that, Reg. Let's not have if you don't have a disagreement in front of the kids, you shouldn't make me mad. Something to that effect. But anyway, now let's see what the other thing I wrote down. Oh, that's all I had. Okay. That's all I had. Oh, look out. I'm at 19 minutes and 45 seconds. So, I think I got some more stuff. I got that down here. I wrote speculations because you see, when people can't tell you what's going on, what they're doing, and why they're doing a certain thing, all you can do is speculate. So I wrote down speculations, and because I'm at 19 minutes and 45 seconds addressing all these issues that I talked about when I reviewed some of the videos, I think I'm going to turn this off, and then I'm going to turn it on again and talk about the speculations. Because, I don't know what's going on in the people's head, like Elizabeth, the matriarch of the Singleton family. I don't know. I ain't never had no conversation with her. She never had no conversation with me. So all I'm done is left to speculate why these people despise me. Because you see, all my life, I'm 58 years old, and I ain't got no enemies on this planet. Nobody that is at enmity with me, except those people who share the same DNA with my young. And so all I can do is speculate why they might despise me. So I'm going to turn this off and then I'll turn it back on and talk about what I speculate. Now, you all in face with them people. Y'all have conversation with them. They've been grinning in your face for 20 years. So you all, if I were you, but I can't say if I were you because your reality is not my reality. But I think that if it were me, while them people are alive and well and can in their right minds, I assume they're in their right mind. My grandma had dementia by the time she was 70 years old. So I think about 70. Yeah, because she came to live with us. I think she was like in 70s. She was in her 70s. So my grandma had dementia around 70 years old. I don't know if this bitch got dementia at this point or not, but I guarantee that Reggie's one and only sibling, Dewana Singleton Smith, I know she ain't got dementia. So hell, y'all need to get with them folks. And then you got these aunts and all these aunts. You got two aunts. The one, the Laverne, the one in North Carolina, and then that one other one, Teresa in Florida. I don't know people, but I did reach out to them because I'm trying to save my family. But see, those people are on the exterior. See, Elizabeth was the matriarch. She was the one, and so people just follow her lead. And so you don't blame them, but again, they're still alive and well. You can still talk to those folks and find out what the heck was going through their mind. Why they discount what was going on with Reggie? Reggie needed help, and none of the people reached out to him. If I was them people, I would go to Reggie's gravesite and apologize to him because the man needed help. He needed somebody to give him some direction. You know, my dad used to say, or somebody used to say, I don't know if my dad or if it's something, but they used to say, you're only as wise as the counsel around you. And I had to ask my siblings, is that something my dad used to say? Or is that something I read along the way? But they say you're only as wise as the counsel around you. And Reggie had counsel around him. The people didn't give him any wise counsel. The poor man was left to his own devices. You reach the promised land. You have a plan. You know, all this stuff you're growing up with and stuff like that. And then people leave you to your own devices. But anyway, I'm going to turn this off because we're at 23 minutes. And like I said, I want to keep these short. I'm going to turn it back on. Because I don't want to talk about speculation. I want you all to hear my version of what I think why that lady despised me. Because what the heck? What I got to lose? All I can do is speculate because I don't know for sure. And she alive and well. Maybe she alive and well. Maybe she in her right mind. Maybe she ain't. But anyway, I do know something happened to her in her youth, I'm sure. Somebody must have abused that woman when she was a young child. But anyway, that's something wrong with her. And Reggie knew something wrong with his mama. He had to know something wrong with mama. I knew something wrong with mama when I met her. But, you know, that's not here nor there. I'm turning this off. That's not